Well, ahoy there, cruisers, and welcome to Castaway Cay, or is it Castaway Cay? No matter how you pronounce it, this is a Bahamian paradise with powder white sands and turquoise blue waters. But arg, wait, there's a different story here. A history of pirates, drug smugglers, crime. This island has a dark past. Let's talk about it, shall we?
That's Dr. Evil.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
not a pirate.
Arg. Come on in, mateys. Let me tell you a little story now. Way back in the 1700s, this little island had some rather notorious visitors. Pirates, arg. Treasure hunters uncovered coins in a hefty silver ingot off its shoals in the 1950s. Evidence suggests that this booty belonged to a ship called the San Pedro that sank back in 1733. It was holding the riches of the King of Spain, and this proved that pirates were here at one point. So yeah, we've got a bit of a rainy day on the island, but honestly, I would still rather be here while it's raining and the rain is nice and warm than be back home. At home at the moment, it's -5 and snowing.
As soon as the rain started, a lot of people ran straight back to the ship and have gone back to the ship already. It's only midday, why not just stay? It'll pass. The Caribbean's known for its occasional storms, so just hunker down under a shelter for a little bit, go and grab some lunch, and then eventually the sun will come back out like it has now.
In the 1960s, Trinidadian billionaire Alvin Tucker had a vision. He bought 150 acres of land and created an epic 2,400-foot runway, originally used for planes, but now breaking more records as one of the longest cycling paths. Should we go hire a bike and see what it's like, David?
Let's go.
So there's loads to do on the island. You can do loads of free stuff like just chilling on the beach. All of the chairs and umbrellas are free. You do get a lunch on the island as well, a barbecue lunch. But we've done a whole video just a few months ago touring the whole of Castaway Cay. Make sure you go check that out as well. It gives much more information. But today, we're going to do something a little bit different. We're going to hire one of those bikes and cycle down that famous runway, then tell you more about what happened to that famous runway. Some very dark things in the past.
Bike rental is available here just next to the tram stop. It's $13 for an hour's rental, and there is a well signposted bike path for us to follow. Let's go.
I'm having second thoughts now. I don't know how I feel about exercise on a vacation. Exercise. Right, let's go pick a bike. Oh my gosh, these bikes look very strange. We're going to pick one out. He's recommended we take one of the black bikes because they're the bigger bikes. So should we grab one? It's been a while since I've cycled, actually. I think it was back in Europe when we did a river cruise. Let's grab a bike. I think I'm going to grab this one, David. It looks nice. It's not rusty. Oh, I'm like a Hell's Angel. Treat yourself. Right, got my bike. I'm just going to give it a quick check over. It's got 2 wheels and a steering wheel thingamabog, so I'm happy. I just need to make sure that it's tall enough, so I'm just going to make my seat a little bit higher. You can just see David doing that now, and it's a very sensible idea because I'm quite tall. 6'2". You know, everybody always says when they meet us how tall we are. I'm 6'2" and David's 5'9". Ooh, I'm driving. Let's go, everybody. This is very fun. I remembered how to ride a bike. Oh God, there's pedestrian crossings. But we're on the runway. How cool is this? It's a proper runway. Here's David. Hi, David. Bye. This is crazy. It's a full-on runway, which is very strange to see in the middle of an island. How crazy is this? It's so cool. So guys, just ignore the fact I've got a GoPro strapped to my head for this next bit. But anyway, we're on the runway. It's crazy. Alvin Tucker, the guy who bought the island, was hoping for some peace.
As time went on though, Alvin Tucker's tropical hideaway was discovered by criminals.
So the barely populated islands of the Bahamas became a hotbed for drug runners who needed to refuel their small planes on the way from Colombia to the USA.
Alvin heard rumours that his private runway was being used by drug smugglers.
He sought help from the police but found out that they were reportedly involved as well.
Alvin began to visit less and less, and eventually he sold his land to a private company, secretly owned by an American drug lord, Frank Barber. Now that the island was his, Frank Barber began to operate his own little drug empire on Castaway Cay.
How crazy is that? This actual runway was used for drug smuggling. Anyway, let's continue with our cycle, shall we? We've got a long way to go with my crazy little hat as well. Remember, we have to stick to the right-hand side of the road as well because we're not in the UK.
Oh my gosh, I know, we don't want to crash.
Let's go. Oh, jeez. Please keep right. Seem to have completely lost David. Not sure where he is, but this is really lovely. So we're just like sort of going around the whole island really, because it is a very small island and it's really fantastic. What a crazy way to see it. We haven't done this before on the island, so it's really fantastic to see all of the different parts. Plus it's a good workout for all of that food we're going to be eating. Whose idea was this though? Caribbean weather.
So we've arrived at the first lookout point here on Castaway Cay. I'm going to go up and see if we can see any more relics of Castaway's dark past.
Guys, it wobbles. I don't like it. We are super high up. We've got a view of the ship and all the way around the back, but it actually wobbles. I can feel it swaying. Me no like it. You know how I don't like heights, and this is scary. Scary Mary. Nope. Going back down, guys. The swage is not for me. It really isn't. Oh, this is scary. Oh my gosh, let's get down as quick as we can. I guess this has survived a lot of hurricanes, so it can't be too dangerous, but I'm shaking. Let's get back down to terra firma. If you have visited a private resort or island from one of the big cruise lines like Royal Caribbean, Disney, MSC and Norwegian, hit that subscribe button and let us know which one's your favourite in the comment section below.
I have to say, if you want to do this, it is very easy. It's a very gentle bike ride. The bikes are very easy to ride. Alternatively, you can walk this area. It's a very easy walk. You can walk along the bike path, and of course that's absolutely free. If you're feeling incredibly fit, they do a Castaway Cay 5K marathon. That takes place first thing in the morning. It's a 5-kilometre run around the island, along these bike paths and down the runway. And at the end of it, you do receive a medal. So if you're up for it, go for it. By the 1980s, the island had become notorious for its drug smuggling. Various newspapers reported that people who once owned parts of the island were no longer welcome and were being chased away by men with large guns. Residents claimed that they saw up to 6 planes a day landing on its airstrip.
And it's even said that Pablo Escobar's drug smuggling cartel used the island as a base of operations for smuggling marijuana and cocaine into the USA. So after Frank's wrongdoings caught up with him, which only took until 1983, just 3 years after he bought the island, the infamous villain ultimately served time behind bars after police found him with over $100 million worth of cocaine. He eventually died in jail. A fun fact is that around the same time, the Walt Disney Company was looking for locations to shoot a brand new movie. And in 1984, scenes from the movie Splash, starring Tom Hanks, were filmed on the island, right here on these beaches. How cool is that? And then in the late 1990s, Disney embarked on a magical adventure to acquire an enchanted island in the Bahamas. Then after shelling out a massive $25 million, Castaway Cay was born and opened its doors in 1998. The Walt Disney Company purchased a 99-year lease which takes them through to 2096 for the island from the Bahamian government, giving the company substantial control over the island. The island is actually still largely undeveloped, as only 55 of the 1,000 acres are being used. And after 18 months of hard work, the Walt Disney World Company transformed this rugged Bahamian island into a paradise that we know today. Thousands of truckloads of sand were carefully dredged from the Atlantic Ocean and spread over 1,000 acres to create some of the breathtaking beaches on the island. The pier and its approaches, a 1,700-foot channel, were constructed to allow Disney ships to dock directly along the island. Dredging and explosives were used to blast coral to create a 35 feet deep and around 300 metre wide channel to allow those ships to come in. This removes the need for tenders to get passengers ashore very quickly and easily without the need of any other boats.
So I'm currently walking along the runway that is here on Castaway Cay. It's very clearly, obviously, a runway, and it is absolutely huge. Now, a little question I've always wondered is, when they were building Castaway Cay, did they use this runway? Well, apparently not. Everything was brought in on ship and on boats. The runway is not in use anymore and has not been in use since Disney took over the island.
And as with most other projects, Walt Disney Imagineering developed a complete fictional history of the island. The backstory is set in the 1920s, where a joint expedition of 3 explorers, a sea captain, and their respective families exploring the islands of the Bahamas become stranded on the island after being caught in a storm and settling there. As the castaways met both local sailors and sea pilots, news of their community began to spread, and a dock and small air runway was built to connect Castaway Cay to the outside world and keep the island supplied. The island is developed in the theme of a castaway community, with buildings made to look as if they were improvised after a shipwreck and storms. You are made to feel like a castaway, hence the name.
While these may look like some perfectly placed set pieces created by Disney Imagineers, in fact they have a little bit of a dark history. The planes behind me were actually rumoured to be found here on the island when Disney took over the place. They were rumoured to be used as the aeroplanes that transported some drugs from here and to the USA, and they were left abandoned or crashed, so Disney just gave them a lick of paint, painted Donald Duck on the side of them, and incorporated them into the story of Castaway Cay with a little bit of a cleaner background.
Yeah, look at that. I'm loving how they've just put Donald Duck on there. That's kind of cute. Disney takes the preservation of its beautiful island very seriously. Not only is it clean and inviting to guests, but every effort has been made to ensure that vulnerable wildlife, such as endangered loggerhead sea turtles, are monitored and preserved 24/7. Additionally, extensive research projects are actively restoring the health of nearby coral reefs for future generations. And to top off these conservation efforts, a solar power system operates quietly behind the scenes where most visitors will never even notice its presence, putting sustainability at the forefront. There are actually 2 water sewage treatment plants on the island that turn seawater into fresh water for guests and employee use. The facilities are maintained like any other Disney theme park. The shops accept guests' stateroom keys for payments, and everything is immaculately clean and prepared. Disney is actually developing a brand new private resort called Lighthouse Point on the southern tip of Eleuthia, a Bahamian island. Sorry about butchering that pronunciation. The island is known for its stunning pink sand beaches, and Disney is working very closely with artists from the Bahamas and advisors to best honour the natural beauty and culture here. What's great about Castaway Cay is that it was the original trendsetter, paving the way for other cruise lines to enjoy their docks on their own private islands. Today, Royal Caribbean and MSC Cruises revel in all that a personal piece of paradise can offer. And did you know that Disney's idyllic Castaway Cay was once known as Gorda Cay? Don't be fooled by the name though. Gorda doesn't mean what it sounds like in Spanish. In fact, it means the island is fatter or rounder than most of her long and skinny neighbours in the Bahamas. Castaway Cay is actually now occupied by just over 140 people permanently, from the trusty boat captains to custodians, landscapers and maintenance personnel, keeping this paradise pristine. The island is now bustling with activity when a ship docks, as boatloads of crew members disembark to work shifts and residents from the neighbouring islands arrive peddling local goods in the shops. Make sure you don't forget to look out for the Bahamian post office as well on the island. They offer postage and services with enchanting signature Mickey Mouse inspired postmarks. It's such a fantastic island, it really is. And from that shady past, it's now a paradise which people get to enjoy, which is so much better, isn't it? But most people don't know the history, so it's really interesting to read into it. We hope you enjoyed it. And a big thank you to all of our patrons as well. You can find out about becoming a patron in the description section below. That's it till next time. Happy cruising!
Let's make it